I am Mel or Marie-Ève or Z or Z Birdbrain. You can address me as whatever. I change name every 5 seconds. I'm like a spy. And today I am here on Toon Boom's Twitch, and on YouTube. No discrimination. I'm here for both of you, both sides of the internet at the moment. And I'm joined by an amazing artist going by Chloe, Luximus, or all of the above. And yes. We're going to do a cool stream, and we're going to talk about storytelling, making your own pilot, and a bunch of animation-related thingos. And so how about you introduce yourself to us, friend?
Heck yeah. My internet name is Luximus, and my real name is Chloe McChesney. I am a recent graduate from UW Stout in Wisconsin. UW Stout is a polytech university that mostly deals with, it's got a whole artistic program for people like me, people who are gamers and animators. And I got a BFA in entertainment design. I've been doing animation for over a decade at this point, drawing for much more, but animation is one of my very, very, very passionate things. I love to animate. I love animating my characters. I love drawing other people's characters. I love character animation in general. It's the thing I'm strongest in. And I'm just a general person that thrives on the internet by talking to a bunch of people about animation. That's me.
That is so cool. That's like one of the best introductions we've had in a while. Very, very clear, very concise. It's perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so as far as like stream goes, for anyone who is new, it's a pretty chill stream. We're going to be talking and together. It's like a kind of interview discussion thing. It's pretty freeform. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I will look at them and try to answer them as best as we can. Of course, questions must stay within respectful boundaries, and no NDAs, no weird personal questions. Like, we're talking about arts and animation here, arts and crafts.
No, I will not date you in the chat. Sorry.
And if you guys have to go, or remember, we always have our VOD, so video on demand, that you can watch after. So there's no stress, no worries. We're just here to have a good time. And and like I said, my name is Mel, also known as the Birdbrain online. And you can always you can see me into the chat. I'm logging in as we speak. So I'll be policing the chat at the same time too. I can multitask. And so we're gonna get started. Oh, thank you so much. I try. And so let me pull my little cheat sheet of questions. Okay, I got it. So we're gonna talk about different things, such as your pilot and storytelling, and a little bit of character design too, because that's always fun. Mm-hmm. So just so that people know what you are drawing at the moment, let's start with your pilot. So what are you working on at the moment? What is this cool story you're trying to tell?
What is Alistair and Melody? Okay, so
I'm going to send the link in the chat, by the way, so you don't have to.
Yes, please do. Alistair and Melody is a indie animation that I'm currently working on. It's a story that I've been writing for 7 years now, I think. It's a story about a father and a daughter who are angels. The daughter is a half angel, the father is a full angel, and the dad is... They're basically living on Earth. Dad is showing off how to be an angel to the daughter. And the daughter's a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic, but she's sweet at heart. And the dad is a very self-absorbed idiot that doesn't normally pay attention to what his kid does sometimes. So shenanigans ensue. And the tone of Alistair Melody, I know I said angels, but the tone isn't like, so it is like Christian mythology, but it's not heavy handed on Christian beliefs. It's not like a, praise God, you're going to go to hell if you don't praise God kind of thing. It's more like taking the source material of Christian mythology and applying it to modern stuff. So it's tame.
Okay.
It's got a lot of laughs. It's cute. It's wholesome. And it's just here to have a good time, pretty much.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's not a like a setting that we see used often. Like we have so many shows and books and stuff talking about like Greek literatures or like Norse mythology and stuff. But like Christian things is also very interesting. So it's good to see that. Very refreshing.
We decided to go with, I say we as in me and my co-writers have been working on this for a while. We decided to go with Christian stuff because if you'll notice, a lot of media nowadays, especially in animated media, aside from great works like DreamWorks' Prince of Egypt or VeggieTales, if anybody's seen that, you get a lot of off-knock shows or studios that try to put their own input on Christian beliefs and mythologies into animation, and it doesn't always come across as something people
because
really
oftentimes either is really in your face being like
exactly
this cult, but like nothing light-hearted and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Very nice to
But
see
this
that.
is trying to avoid. We're just making a story but with Christian values in it. That's what I'm saying.
Good to know.
And
and yeah, I'm just checking the chat. I thought it was movement, but it's just my computer being crazy. Okay, well that's very interesting. And you've been working on it for 7 years, and that's a lot. That's really cool. Was it more 7 years of like coming up with the characters and writing and stuff? Not 7 years of animation, right?
So no, not 7 years of animation. It's more of just developing the story. It was in the early years of Alistair and Melody. It was a very different story back then than it was now. But the characters somehow remained constant in design. I've never really let go of these designs because I thought they were the best thing ever. But the story around them was a thing that involved a lot more supernatural stuff, and it doesn't really involve that now because I felt like that would be way too much to fit inside of like an animated thing where angels themselves are such a huge thing. You don't want to go beyond that at that point, right? But over the years I've learned another reason why it's taken this long, it's taken 7 years, is because I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to writing. I want things to be perfect. I want, the script to be good enough for people to look at it and say it's like the best thing ever, But consequently, with being a perfectionist, nothing gets done. So years go by and you feel like it's, bad. People want to see something of it, but at the same time, you don't think it's worth it in the end. But what got me back into actually, it's been a year since I've actually put my heart and soul into these characters over the past year. Because at the start of 2023, a couple of good friends came to me. And it was around the time where I let go of Alan Mel for a bit. And they were like, where is it? Where's Alan Mel? We really want to see it because it's such a good idea. And they told me to make a little short, a little proof of concept for Alan Mel just to see how it would look on the screen and how it would translate well in terms of character dynamics. So I made fish sticks and toast as a little test run for these characters that is on my YouTube channel right now. Received very well on Twitter and on TikTok. That was pretty cool. And that gave me the confidence boost that I needed to actually make a pilot.
Well, that's very interesting to talk about, and I'll make some little weight on that. Not weight like waiting, but like something that weighs more than something else, like English. Oh my god! more weight on it, because we talk about to so many people wanting to make also their own project and whatnot. And one thing that I always advise people against is keeping everything secret until last minute, because I don't know where this idea comes from. I think it comes from like ingrained paranoia or something. Like, I will not share my idea because what if someone steals it and like steal it from me? And I'm like, dude, no. Like, the thing to remember is that there's so many idea people. There is very little doing people. And if I want to do a project, let me tell you, I will not make someone else's project. I'm going to do mine. So even though someone's project is a very cool idea, the chances of someone stealing it from you and like making it their own, pretty slim, dude. And even so, it will not be made the same as you are. Like, how many retelling of the Little Red Riding Hood did we see? Or do we see in just 1 year alone, right? There's so many of them. So
yeah. I've heard that argument too. I've heard people at my university say, what if your stuff gets stolen, or what if someone steals your idea or something? And my response has always been, well, if people know your style and people know your characters, then what's the point of someone else stealing it? Because if someone does steal it, then the people that see it being stolen will say, hey, this is actually this person's stuff, right?
Yeah. And like, if you're actually having your project, like, it's getting there, it's got traction and stuff, it is good to worry about it and get the right copyright things in place. And it's different for every country, so we can't help you for that. So make your own research for like attorneys and paperwork and stuff. But they're like, this is different. But like, keeping it to yourself will help. No, like, it's not going to help you, because just like Chloe said, the project would have been kind of in the back burner for a while unless people were like, hey, where is it? Like, we know it exists. Where is the thing?
We know it exists. We'll come for you.
That's what I call positive peer pressure, or like accountability. So when you have a project, if you share it with people, then you're going to get instant feedback. You're going to get nice sharing things and maybe more ideas. Of course, if you have something very special and unique about your project, don't share everything, because then you're going to ruin like any kind of punch or whatever. But like the broad thing, put it out there. Of course, you want to keep something spoilers, like for a good release or whatever. But the more you share your characters, your process, like, people are interested in that. And with how long animation takes or making comics takes, the more you share your stuff as you go, the more you're going to build your empire. Like, you're going to build your community, build your fan base. And this is so important, because I've seen it so many times. People are so talented, more talented than I am. And not to throw a pity party here, but like, I've seen so many people make things that are 5 times better than what I could ever make. And their project, they were like, this is my project. They threw it and nobody was there to catch it. Like, it literally went into like a dark hole of no one cares. And I was like, this is very sad. But this could have been avoided if someone just shared it before.
You always want to keep your audience engaged in the kind of stuff that you're making. And just give them some content to munch on.
Oh, yeah. And even so, even if you have like 1 million followers on Twitter, for example, or like, even if you're someone with reach, you are not excluded from that advice. I've seen it. People with millions of followers that are followed for a reason. Let's say like they make Pokemon content, and then even if they have like millions of followers, they put up their cool, unique, personal project, and no one bats an eye. So it's like, you have to build engagement, and because I've heard it from like students I mentor that are popular online. They're like, I'm making my project and I'm going to announce it and show it in like 3 months and it's going to be cool. And I'm like, no, share it as you make it is my advice. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. So build your audience. So important.
Absolutely. Especially if you're doing it on such a small budget. And like by yourself. I'm not doing this by myself, by the way. I've actually... I've actually got a team. I think that was one of the questions. Was how do you
speaking
manage
of budget,
stuff?
we can talk about that. Like animation is one of the most expensive, resource heavy. Meaning you need a lot of people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You need a village to make your pilot usually, and complex medium to work with. So how are you handling that?
So okay, number one, I do have a team. But my team is we're a nonprofit group pretty much. I've gathered people to help me out with this particular pilot, and I've told them many times, because I am a broke graduate student, that I can't pay them a fair wages worth for what they do. I've told them
which is the case for a lot of pilots. So
yeah,
but that's the case for a lot of pilots.
They still wanted to join and everything. So to compensate, I said, okay, there's not going to be any deadlines. I don't want you to make this a priority if you can't. Like if you've got other work and if you got actual paid work that you should be doing, plus mental health stuff. And also, I'm going to be sharing whatever progress we make. I'm going to be crediting people all over social media on what they do, and making sure their name gets out there. There's a rule I go by that was actually told to me by by a music guy that I know, is that you do a project for three out of four things. If you can fill 3 out of 4 of these things, then it's worth doing. One of them is money. 2 is networking. 3 is work experience. And 4 is learning experience. A secret 5th one is just for fun. If you want to do it for fun, that's fun too. But if you can fulfill 3 out of 4 of those things, then the project is worth doing. And that seems to be what people are doing, or what people are getting out of just by working on my thing.
I mean, that's how I deal with my projects as well. Because, nowadays, like back then, I needed projects to for exposure and getting my name out there. But now I don't. So I just do with them if if I'm having fun, if the cause is right, if I want to do it. So that's a very good, solid advice for if you're doing these kind of projects that are indie and stuff. It's so important to respect your artists and stuff. One thing, and this applies not only to indie animation, but even for TV animation and projects and movies. I say that even to producer, famous people. If your project, if animators want to work on your project, it's going to be way better. Because I see so many artists work, as real job, paid and stuff, but the project is so boring that even if they're paid for it, the animators are like, I'm doing it because I'm paid, but I don't really care. Whereas you can have a show that not only is going to be a job, but if artists care about the project, it's going to look so much better. So try to make things engaging, because if your animators want to animate it, clearly people are going to want to watch it. That's going to help.
Yeah. People see the amount of heart that you put into your stuff, and they appreciate it for that.
Yeah. And a lot of pilot project, they usually the first pilot is usually you're not going to be paid golden wages for that, but that's normal. It's the pilot. It just becomes a problem when it's up in season 2, when it's still not
when we're still not getting paid for it. Yeah,
that's another story.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, if you have tight deadlines, a very hard to animate show with low wages and stuff, question yourself. You might not be in the best position. But if it's Alistair and Mel, if it's just a cool project, the deadlines are pretty soft, and it's just fun all around, then that's amazing. Because I hear it all the time from students in school. I think it's because of social media and stuff that things are getting talked about more, which is good in a way, because we get abused less as artists, working for crap wages and stuff. But I think we need to tone it down a little. So, because I hear like students that has absolutely no experience in the industry being like, I want to be paid $25 an hour. I'm like, nah, you're not there yet. So,
Yeah.
and I hear like, I will never work on a pilot because like I want to get paid. And it's like, pilots are a good way to get experience because no one makes a fortune out of them. So if no one makes a fortune on a project, then it's all fair game, right? But if you work on an indie show that someone is making a fortune about, question yourself. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. So fun to have a talk about that with you. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, that and like indie creators in general, especially nowadays, they operate solely off of passion and their drive for their own personal projects. That because we as indie creators share that drive with our own projects, that we just help each other out, free of charge. Because we want each other's stuff to be good and we want to build each other up. Everybody gets a shot in the spotlight with their own thing because everybody's stuff is so cool. And yeah, I don't know. That's
why I help a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. That's my take on that, at least.
Yeah, it's a good take. Okay, so we've been talking about the pilot and stuff. So well, now we're going to do the good and bad part. So what do you like the most about making this project with these people?
What do I like the most? My favorite part is seeing everything come together and just the spirit of working together. Because honestly, I was way too scared to actually go forward with this for years. And now that I've got the courage to actually go forward with it, and people are seeing it and they actually like it, that's the best feeling that I've ever gotten out of this whole thing. For smaller stuff, I love the spreadsheets. They're the most dopamine that I get out of the whole thing. The spreadsheets are the best because when you fill in the spreadsheet and you get it completed and everything, you put a little green tip next to a shot that's completed, then it's got dopamine and it's the best feeling ever.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
At first I was like, what the heck
I really, really love.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see your point. Very fair point. Yeah, okay. And what do you like less about the project? What are some of the biggest hardship you encounter? Because, we've been praising it and saying, oh, it's so cool, but like people need to hear it. Like, what is the less fun part of it?
So 2 things. One, because this is a shared project between a bunch of other artists all have their own work styles and they're not necessarily congruent with your own. So you have to not only learn how other people do their work, but also make sure that you have guides and are watching their stuff as you go so that, the next person in line can work just as well with the kind of workflow that you've given them. Like I have like a whole guide on how to do cleanup. And it's reviewed by the compositor, the one that does the lighting and effects and everything. And people will follow it, but at the same time, the harmony buttons and techniques that they'll use while they're doing it it's similar, but not quite there to the guide. And so we have to go back and forth and say, okay, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? Okay, we should fix this, fix that. This whole first scene that we've cleaned up has been a whole learning experience on how to actually manage a group like that. So that's been pretty hard. The second thing is people won't shut up about the character comparisons on social media, and it drives me insane.
You have to ignore that. What are they comparing it to even?
I know. People tell me that, like, because they're not there's a lot of people on social media that aren't artists, so they, pair up whatever they know to an existing character so that they can appreciate it more. And I'm like, okay, but Alistair doesn't need to be called William Afton every time I post a picture.
Okay? I mean, if it can make you feel better, I have no hecking idea who William Stir is. So
true. Okay. There's just a lot of people.
Okay, but remember though, the social medias are populated a lot with US people. So there's a lot of like US centric things probably. that the rest of the
That's
world
true.
doesn't really pay attention to. I mean, maybe that's why I don't have any social medias anymore, except Instagram and YouTube. But I got
That's
sick of
true.
it. Yeah,
that's true. I don't know.
So yeah,
I
don't worry too much about it. And if there's one thing to worry less when you do a project is Twitter. So sleep.
Well, Twitter has been
ears.
pretty good in terms of like responding to my stuff. I know I'll get to the point where I'll start getting the hate, which I'm prepared for. It's just I wasn't prepared for the character comparisons, and I don't know why that gets me so much than other things. I don't know. It's something I just have to work on getting through and everything. It's a personal problem. But those two are the hard things that I've experienced when working on this.
Okay, that's very interesting. But let it be known, the character comparison always happens. It happens to everyone. So,
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
I'm not alone.
Oh yeah, interesting thing. Why did you choose Harmony for the project? Is it because you learned it in school? Did you hear about it? I don't know.
It's easy. Like, it's just so much easier. I was gonna do it in Flash because I grew up knowing Flash and transferred to Animate. But then when I transferred to Animate, Adobe Animate, I heard about Harmony, and I saw how I was scared of Harmony at first because it's a new program. It's just always scared about Harmony stuff. But then once you actually get to know the buttons and watch people do it and figure it out for yourself, then it's really easy. It's super easy. So I've just encouraged people to go over to Harmony. That and a bunch of industry level studios use Harmony anyway, so it's just good practice.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, why did you choose animation to tell your story and not comics or writing or something? Is there a reason?
I tried doing comics before. Well, yeah, other than I like it, it's my thing. I tried doing comics before. I'm not bad at comics. At least I don't think I am.
But it's such a different art form.
It is. It's a different art form, and it's... Oh, yeah, no, I've put more thought into this. I've learned that I don't like the design process, especially when it comes to setting, because I don't know what it is about it, but something about making a bunch of rooms, boxes, circles everywhere that won't move, that are just stationary in the background. They grind my gears for some reason. I don't know why. I like character stuff. I like things that move on the screen. So my personal taste is, animation, just because I love to animate. I could get the story out faster if I did comics, but I don't like doing comics. So that's why I'm doing animation.
Totally fair. And it's very nice, and that's kind of what I wanted to hear when I asked the question. Because often I can hear that where I don't have the budget for animation, therefore I will do a comic, and that's the only reason they do it. I'm like, not a good reason, because comics are so complicated for specific reasons. So I'm like, if you don't have an affinity for the genre, you don't read comics, you don't make comics, not a better idea. I think you'd be better doing a shorter animation rather than doing a comic. So instead of making a comic because it's cheaper, just make a less long animated project if animation is your passion and not comics. But
yeah,
that's kind of why I put the questions in there. Yeah. It
was a good question. It's very nice. I didn't think about it until now. Why I did animation, but I guess I just really like animating. Lol.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same with the project I'm working on, because I'm working on a project too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, where animation is the thing I prefer to do, but it's unrealistic to think I'm going to be able to do that pilot or whatever. So for now we're kind of splitting the release into text, comics, and animation bits. So we're doing the three where we want to, because we like all three. So yeah. Let me see if the chat has any questions. I don't think they do. No, not on YouTube. Is it on Twitch?
I don't see any.
Nothing on Twitch. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. Oh my god, it's already been 30 minutes. Things go too fast.
Oh Lord.
Okay, now we're gonna focus a bit more on the storytelling part of the story. So, little intro question, like, what got you interested in telling stories in the first place? Because, lots of people like to draw, they like to animate, but telling stories is such a specific thing that, not everybody has. So did it come from somewhere? Where does that come from?
Storytelling. Okay. It comes, this is going to make me sound really weird. It comes from spite. And what I mean by that is...
Okay.
What I mean by that is I look at other stuff, other stories and other, shows. And, well, this is where the perfectionist in me comes from. I look at it and I say, I could do that, but I'm going to make it better. And then I just go. It's mostly where that comes from. The other part of it is I grew up in a community that was super, super critical of stories like that, of just like animated stuff and, media things, stories that have already been put out into the world and are super critical about it. They nitpick over some of the smaller details, story details that I listened to that community as much as I could and took notes and wanted to be a writer to show off that I could make something that was better than what they were expecting out of shows like that. So it's more of like an expectation for myself, and also wanted to just show off that, I could write, I could animate, and I could draw. So it's more of just like throwing my hat in the ring and saying, hey, I can do this too.
Nice. Was it maybe also because you didn't, because I know personally there's something I want to tell is because I didn't see it like growing up or in the media. Like, do you think like you're also telling a story that you wish you could have had when you were a kiddo, or like when you were watching stuff?
Kinda.
Like some subject representation that you have not seen a lot. Like I know in the project I'm making, we're focusing a lot on like making sure that none of our characters are stupid, because I don't believe anyone is. I mean, most people are not stupid. They like I think everybody's smart in very different ways. Or we are also focusing on like love dynamics where, some people just have different interests and stuff, and not every main character needs to have a love sidekick partner or whatever. So we're focusing on that.
Yeah.
We didn't see it often.
I guess in that respect, my motivation for Alan Mel specifically was I saw that there was like a lot of like demon stuff in media, which isn't bad, but there's a lot of it, and especially more considering like the whole has-been thing. Well, it's not just has-been itself, but like, you know what I mean in that
I know what you mean.
Especially is very into the horror genre.
Like adult animation, like adult animation in media these days is like often it's about the dark, grim, badass stuff, but it's not often about just wholesome stuff. And I mean, I want to see wholesome stuff. I that's why I want to see your pilot. Like, life is not great, we know, but can I have some like wholesome moments when I watch content, please?
Exactly. Yeah, that was why Alan Mel exists, is because I saw that and I said, hey, what about the cute stuff? Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I don't have anything against dark, grim, and badass subjects. Sometimes I just want to have cute stuff.
Sometimes we just gotta want the cutes.
We have some questions in the chat. Whoop, whoop. I think I should get a little bell for that. Like, ding, ding. We have a question. So, Ime into the YouTube chat asks, in terms of networking and making your group for the animation, how did you go about it? Which is such a cool question because we did talk about it before. And I think part of it is because you did share work in progress of your project, and people like me thought it looked pretty darn cool. And we're like, can we help? So
yes. I basically just shared my stuff, what I got, because I was very, very excited to share it. Shared it around social media, shared it around Discord groups. People saw it, people liked it, and it, like Z says, yes, they were like, yeah, we want to help out. We want to help out the best way that we can. So I'll basically put out a post that says, hey, if you want to help out, I am looking for cleanup and, comp artists. And I got so many submissions for it. And I'm so grateful for it. It makes me so happy with it. I'm so glad people are really liking it. It's all about just putting your stuff out there, really. We were talking about it before, but like, don't try and keep your stuff a secret if you can help it. Put your stuff out there.
Yep. We have other questions. British or ninja? That's interesting. With so many disciplines involved around making an animation project, how have you found approaching things you haven't done before? Oh yeah, that's a good question. I was about to ask it too. So to sum it up, because I face the same issue with my project. Like, I'm a good animator, a so-so character designer, and a very poor background artist. So if in my projects, I'm like, I try to get people that do backgrounds to be like, hey, you want to help out? Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses in your project, and how did you go about it? Like, approaching things that you haven't done before or not great at.
My strengths are rough animation. Just in general, I love doing character stuff. And
cleanup looks cute too.
Well, yeah, I do cleanup. I can do cleanup. It's not the thing I like doing more than
it's just not animation. Your
thing. But people can do cleanup. That's what I found out. I love doing color correction stuff. I found out. I love working with colors. But backgrounds in general, like actually illustrating backgrounds, I recently found out I hate doing. So I'm probably going to be asking people for help on that soon. But there's so many disciplines involved around making it. How have you found approaching things you haven't done before? Well, I've done directing before. This isn't my introduction to directing. I
like
directed
in school,
something,
right?
Well, it's both school and there's actually a music video by CG5 called "Forget." That was my introduction to actually directing a group of people that animate. And I got to be a co-director on that, and I got to see how the pipeline works. And so I took that experience and applied it to this. And while this whole thing still is a learning experience because it's a lot longer than a music video, and there's a bit more detail to it than that, it's been, I found out that being a director is a lot more fun to it. Because while I can do something that involves like taking orders from somebody to animate a character, networking and helping people out and sharing my experience with those other people that work on this with me has been a really good experience for me too.
But that is such an important point, and I talk about it kind of often when people, talk about projects and have questions, and whenever some people come with their like big project and pilot, often it's like, hi, I have this project. Do you want to work for me and make my project that is mine? And it's more like, sometimes it sounds more like I don't have time to do it myself, and I want you to kind of be the extensions of my arm and do it. And I think, like with experience, this is not a great approach. It doesn't go a lot of places because a good director and a good project leader, you don't want people to work for you. You want them to work with you. And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's such a big difference between them. Whenever I do projects, either my little pilot, like any projects I direct at Toon Boom or whatever, like sometimes I have to do like ads and marketing events or something. When I hire an artist, I don't want them to work for me. I want to work with them. And holy schnapps, this is such a big game changer in the way, because I never realized it until someone asked, and I actually had to put words on that and explain it, and they were like, oh, I get it, that's where I was wrong, like in their way of directing or something. Because I've seen you handle your project on the Discord and stuff, and you have these people helping you out, and there is trust in these people, and I think that's admirable, and that's maybe why it's going somewhere compared to other projects I've seen.
I love my team so much. I make sure I am on full communication with them 24/7. I make sure I have the answer for them whenever they ask a question, or if I don't have an answer,
when you don't have
somebody that has an answer for them.
Yeah, when you don't have the answer, I've seen it. You're like, I will find it later, and like, it's all about honesty and respect. And I know I'm just a helpline on your project because I'm helping too many people at the same time. But I'm always there to help out if you need. But you guys get it figured out. It's really cool to see you guys doing all. I see Sandra help a lot with like the cleanup and organization and stuff. So
yeah,
you guys got it, and I think it's come from. Yeah, I think it comes from the way of directing, where it's like you guys are in it together rather than people are working for you. And if people are listening in there, the sooner you realize that you need people to work with you and not for you, I think it's the best thing you can realize.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate my team like wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
honestly.
And something that artists often don't realize is they want to make their project because they really love to do art and animation. But I think most people don't realize how much directing is. People think that directing is I'm doing the art and people are going to do the same as I do because I direct what the art has to be, and that is so not what it is. Directing a project is handling people, checking deadlines, making sure your pipeline is optimized. This is what directing is. It's not, if you're an art director, you don't draw all day. You kind of guide people how to draw the thing, but you don't do it yourself. And I think that's very important to understand. If you guys want to make a pilot of your own, you will have a lot of more spreadsheets than animation going on in your life.
I mean, finished with the shot, so I'm just like, I don't know, rough doodles, I guess.
Oh, we have other questions. How theory in animation matters? Is it mostly about applying those 12 basic principles of animation in practice for improving, and that's it? Or is there some more must know? I think animation is more than the 12 basic principles. It's great if you're learning them, but I think the more you do animation, the more you become better at it and inspire other people's work and practice. Practice is the best advice I can give. You can study these principles for 5 days, 5 years. If you never draw anything, not gonna help. What do you think?
Yeah. Once you've gone to school for 7 years about it, and you get better at animation, then the principles to you come naturally. The trouble, I guess, that I found out with animation specifically is time management. And you should know, as artists, we're terrible at time management. So it's like, you get an idea for one project and you really want to do it, and then like you're halfway through that project, and then you get an idea for another project, so you have to stop what you're doing and do something else, right? And it's like, it's all a huge mess on like whether you're going to finish something or whether you're not going to finish something. So my experience has been sticking to what you've already done, or sticking to something that takes priority in your life, like in animation. Because if it doesn't get done, no one's going to know what it is. No one's going to see it. You're the only one that's going to know about it. And yeah. That's been my experience with it. The principles of animation is more of just a stepping stone into the life of an animator. Whole world around it that you will find out if you ever choose to become an animator.
The secrets.
Yeah.
I think something I could advise also you guys, if you're listening, is how do we say, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, learning there's so much to learn about animation, and I'll be honest, you're gonna see people that are way better than you, like way, way, way better than you. But just remember that everybody comes from a different place. I often use this situation as an example. I'm really good at timing for animation. That's something I'm good at. The drawing part of it, a bit harder. For me, drawing has never come easy. I need to work a lot to produce drawings. It's like someone who's just naturally in shape and someone who has to go to the gym to muscle up. I need to go to the gym for drawing. I need to train it. I'm not naturally good at drawing. It was always a struggle in my life, but it's something that I like to tackle because I get better at it every day. Whereas some people just have a more natural skill set for drawing because they have maybe better photo memory. They have better way to like orient themselves. Like I have no sense of orientation. I have bad photo memory, and I cannot. I look at something and I forget how it is instantly. Like I have no memory whatsoever. Whereas my roommate, who's an amazing character designer, she's going to look at an image for 5 seconds and be able to reproduce it right after, like on a piece of paper. And I'm like, how? Like her mind is like a retro projector or something. I don't get it. I can't do that. So of course it hinders my way to animate because I cannot draw as good as I can move stuff, which is why I was a pretty good 3D animator, but I got bored and went back to drawing. I don't know why I did that myself. But that being said, respect your skill set and respect that not everybody has the same soft, like basic skills that other people. Oh, that's a cute dragon. That's really cool.
What? Oh, really this? Cool. Oh yeah, no. I'm on the side of Val and Mel. I've been working on portfolio stuff. One of them was I wanted to try my hand at animating MLP Discord. Which is
that's
like
what I thought it was.
Big snake guy. This is all I got out of it. Yeah.
Oh, I love the tail movement. Oh, so good, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of the. Oh, Sanja's in the stream.
Hi, Sanja.
Yeah, we were talking good about you like some minutes ago. You have to go back and hear it.
We weren't talking shit, yeah. I promise.
Yeah. Thanks for the help you do on this project. It's so appreciated by me and my colleague, by everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. We love Sanja.
Let's see if we have other questions. I'll have to say to the stream, by the way, there's 10 minutes left. So if anyone has a question, ask them now because otherwise we're never going to be able to ask it. Okay. So talking about design, because I was talking about my character designer bestie. When you do your design for your projects, do you design with animation in mind, like animation ease in mind, or do you just design whatever and hope it'll be animatable? And I know the answer. I just need to ask it. But
I know the answer.
I know your answer because we talked about it before.
Yeah, I do design with animation in mind because I'm an animator at heart. at heart. And so my style is naturally, shapes, round shapes, nice soft shapes that you can easily replicate. No problem. So whenever I do character design stuff, I always do it with the intent of animation in mind. And also just in general, if you're just putting it out there as just an illustration or just a still image, then, it's easy on the eyes if it looks like it's from a show. It just feels easier to do. For me, at least. Hi, Michael. I see him in the chat. Michael was a fellow student with me at UW. So.
Well, hello, Michael.
Yeah.
Speaking of designs that are good and bad for animation, because I talk about it all the time on these streams, and because it's something that matters to me personally. I see so many indie stuff with a very complicated design, and I'm like, like guys, you need to chill. If you want that project to get made, there's like compromises that has to be done. So what are some easy things to animate and some harder things to animate that you can think of? Like, just to give advice to anyone who would be listening and want to make their project a reality as well.
Faces are hard to do if you're not used to it. I've learned that there's a bunch of tools that you need to figure out for facial stuff, but that's fine. Characters that have intricate designs or are made of specific materials that aren't usually stuff we find in everyday, walking out in the street, you find this in the street, kind of like characters that are like made of metal,
like a character that's made of slime or metal,
or slime, or even a lot of fur. Materials like that is a lot to work with and can be a pain if you don't know how to rectify that. If you do and you don't want to animate frame by frame, you can always make puppets out of your characters, and I guess that problem solves itself. Otherwise, in terms of character design, people that like to go all out with like muscles or extra body parts, extra limbs, tend to see that they have a lot more to figure out. Even if the character is cool, even if it's a cool character design, if you're intending for that character to be animated, you better be ready for a ride, because you're going to be there all night with a character.
Yeah, because you see it like sometimes if people really like anatomy and stuff, but it doesn't mean that your quote unquote staff is going to have the same affinity with it. Yeah, I think compromise sometimes will have to be done. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I think my thing for about like character design would be like, to me, it's stripes and useless designs. Whenever I add a design to a character, I always ask myself, is it easy enough to draw? If so, yes. If it's hard to draw, I'm like, what does it bring to the story? Like, if I remove it, yes, the character will look less cool, but like, does it bring anything to the story? And if it doesn't, I'm like, maybe I can cut that detail. That's usually how I do. Like, choose your battle, make sure they're important. Like stripes and stripes everywhere. Like, maybe the character doesn't need 7 stripes. Maybe it can do it 3. That's what we did for like a Daisy. We removed so many stripes of the cats, and you know what? Characters still look like what they were from the comic, so it's totally fine. People, like, your audience is smarter than you think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are some? People earlier in Discord had some questions, and people were asking how. After doing your storyboard / animatic, did you get overwhelmed by the amount of animations work? If so, how did you overcome it? Or how do you prevent animation to be overwhelming? Like, how do you prevent your storyboard or animatic to kind of be all over the place and make your animation intimidating?
Okay. Well, number one, we're still working on the storyboard. It's not finished. We go by scenes. We storyboard each scene and then work in segments. So I guess in order to get not overwhelmed, don't do your whole pilot all in one. Do it, split it up into certain scenes, and then split those scenes up into shots, so that you're not animating off of like a minute's worth of animation to do on one single file. That's what spreadsheets are for, technically, is they're there to like help you not get overwhelmed. Even if the list looks overwhelming, the fact that it's separated helps you stay organized with what you're working with in general. So my advice to that is spreadsheets. I cannot stress this enough. When you're doing a project like this, the spreadsheets are your best friend.
Fair. Very fair. And I'd say for that advice, like, how do you make the storyboard not overwhelming for animation? I think if you're making a pilot of your own, try to limit the camera angle and movement that you have. Like, not every scene needs to have a camera movement or a crazy tilt going on. because these are usually harder to animate. So kind of try to be careful about that. And wait, did I forget if I didn't ask that question. Speaking of like the storyboard and stuff, like, do you write a script before you storyboard for your project, or so is it like a script driven project, or is it more a storyboard driven project? You just make the storyboard as you go?
We write the script first. I work with a couple of people that are already creative in the mind anyway, and so we all have visions on how it's going to look, and we are able to translate it pretty well from our minds to writing it down, and then we'll just draw it later. So we work off of the script mostly.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how much? I mean, I don't know if you have a question, an answer for that. It's okay if you don't. How much time do you usually spend writing a script for, like one segment or one episode? Though it's okay if you don't have it. Like you're not a show running. So
yeah. So okay, for this pilot, it took me a few months to figure it out. But that's only because I put all of my focus on it. And then I'm banking on this pilot doing okay enough for another episode. So right now I'm leaving that whole script writing process to my writers while I watch over them, as we do it properly. But at the same time, like, my writers and we spend months going over script ideas and like mapping out how the story is supposed to work. And this is over like weekends of just talking to each other, because we're on very different time zones, my writers and I, so we only get to talk to each other like once a week at night.
And that's also interesting because like it just shows how much trust you have in your team, because like you said, writers are writing the script and you're trusting them, and that's pretty cool. I think that's a good lesson for anyone trying to make their project. If you want to see it move, you have to learn to delegate, and this is so hard because we're so used to do everything by ourselves. But like, have trust in your people. I think it's a good advice.
Yeah. It did take me a while to like actually trust people and my stuff. Of
course,
I still do the rough animation all by myself, just because I'm I'm not at that level of trust yet. But I let everybody else
at the
help
same
with the completion stuff.
But at the same time, your project is new. Like, the fact that you make all the rough, that's totally fair, because the style is not out. It's like Zerl in Monkey Wrench. Like, for a while, he was doing all the rough animation, and then he was doing all the cleanup and stuff, just so that everything was cohesive and consistent. The more the project goes, I think people are going to understand. And slowly, you're going to be able to kind of delegate even the rough, but like it will take some time. So don't be too hard on yourself. Like, that's normal. Like,
we're not there yet, but yeah, we'll get there one day, hopefully.
Like, yeah, that's like, cleanup is one thing, but like the animation fiber, like the rough animation, such a big part of the pilot. So yeah, it's normal that you do everything. I get it. And that will be the end of the stream very soon. So do you have any last maybe word you want to say for people watching? Good advice or I don't know.
If you have an idea, go for it. Don't wait. Just go for it.
Good advice.
Yep.
And so thank you for watching, everyone. You can catch our next stream tomorrow, Wednesday, January 24th. And it will be a collaboratory with Mike Morris and a special guest, Mike Pettingill. The topic will cover storytelling in Storyboard Pro, I think. Wait, is it Storyboard Pro? Probably Storyboard Pro. I'm not sure. But it will talk about storytelling, and it's going to be with Mike Morris and Mike Pettingill, and it's going to be very interesting. So see you all tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.